5.5 pounds, but you can absolutely do this project smaller. You could make a 3 or a 4 pound pitcher. As Nancy just demonstrated. What? Yeah. Okay, centered-ish. It feels like there's still something in there, but we'll deal with it on the inside. So for a vase, you don't mind it to be heavy. So a vase, you can leave a lot at the bottom, but for a pitcher, because it's gonna hold water, you really want it pretty thin at the bottom because you don't want a lot of weight. And this object, you can see it behind you, it's not gonna be easy to flip upside down and trim. I'm gonna trim it right side up. And I'm gonna do a lot of compressing because I want it to hold the liquid that I'm gonna put into it. So what makes a belly is the foot and the neck. Otherwise it would just be wide all the way down, right? So I've got to keep the top pretty thin because it's going to have a neck. And I also need the foot to be pretty thin. So a lot of pressure, pushing really hard to get that in at the bottom. But then you just lift it. As soon as my hands can connect, I connect them. Okay. So here's the belly part. When you throw, especially when you throw tall, your outside hand is below and your inside hand's coming up like so. But then where I want it to be fat, I flip. So now my inside hand is underneath. And you see how that makes it wider? And then I can flip back to make it taller again. That's one way to make a belly. The other way is I just sort of hold the top and reach in and make it all go out. I kind of scoop. And I'm scooping towards me right now. But I'm bracing the top because if I didn't hold the top would go crazy. So I'm making it fatter. And once again, I am worried about this being kind of thin. I don't want it to be heavy because I don't want to do a lot of trimming. And you see me, when I do the neck, I'm pushing like right in. It's really my middle finger that's hitting. You collar it, and then when you collar it, that makes it thick, so you have to do a pull again. And then here comes the best tool in the world. Curve it to get the fat that you want. the neck, you flip it to get the in curve that you want. Now, when you're making a picture is when you don't mind if your top got a little out of shape. That's good, because you're just going to use the fatter part to be your spout. So I'll find the highest point. Which I think is right there. Then I clean my hands. With 2 fingers I brace in, and with 1 wet finger I pull out. I don't know if you can see me doing this. So I'm gonna pull in, and then I can't do it towards you, sorry. And then I kind of work back and forth, thinking about how the water would flow, right? And you want it to be a little bit sharp, but I want to maintain the circle like that. So that's how you make the spout. And then you go right there for the belly. Okay.
You have it on there.
So this is how you further accentuate the belly, right? Is you kind of carve it out and you reveal it by pulling off all this extra weight you had at the bottom. You thought it was curvy before. But it's curvier when you pull out the excess stuff at the bottom, which you needed when you were throwing because it had to support the weight of the curve. But you don't need it now that it's leather hard anymore. And now you want to bring it in as much as you can. Ideally, when you're doing these kind of things, these kind of pictures, they want this to match this.
Do you have any, like, you just estimate how much you're taking off?
Do I?
So that you know that you're not gonna...
I tap it, I check it. It's easier to trim right side up because you can kind of see how much you have. I'm not working without any clues here. I didn't put the belly button in this one. If you put the belly button in it, it's harder to trim because you can't come up this far. You really have to throw it thin.
I like the line.
And like I said, I care about the weight on these. If these are too heavy, you're not going to be able to fill them with sangria.
Oh. Maybe we should have a party. When you, like, when you're all done and you bring it in.
Yeah.
Bring it in.
Out. You have to test the pour, right?
Yeah.
You gotta test the pour. For technical reasons. For sure.
It's part of this class project. And how much clay did you use?
I use 6, but you do not have to use 6. 4 is a very comfortable weight for a pitcher. I use 6 just for the sake of demo because I feel like it's easier to see what I'm doing if I'm doing large. But these are also great miniature as like little crafts, sake pours, gravy pours.
Trinkets.
A one-person family.
Creamer.
Right?
That's about the right size.
So I do use my metal rib even during trimming. Wash it though. Because the metal ribs, is it trimming? A little bit, it's trimming. It's taking some clay off, you can see. But it just smooths it and makes it look finished. There we go. And now I'm not going to turn this upside down to trim. So in order to make it sit flat on the table, when I lift it, I just sort of push the bottom in, like that, to make it concave, and then it'll sit flat. And then I'll put a handle on that. But you guys don't have to watch,